Hello to you, my fellow Dark Ones. How are you guys doing today? How's life? Gaze into my eyes. Mesmerizing, aren't they? No, today we have a lot of work to do. However, first off, I have to do some explanations. We need to get to the UV8, right? After that, I don't really care. We're gonna stop progressing and we're going to get into magic. In order to get to UVH, what I need to do is to make americium. Originally, I thought getting americium is not going to be that difficult. All you need is hydrogen and plutonium 241. What I missed is that this is fusion reactor Mark III. Not 2. So how would you get americium? Good question. Our original supply of americium comes from an element called lutetium. Well, you need to run an IC2 reactor with thorium fuel, you deplete the fuel, you centrifuge it, and voila. Each quad fuel rod gives you 2 lutetium, which is not amazing. In my experience, IC2 reactors have a 100% chance of explosion, because I just made the one in my life and that one exploded. It's 100%. But there are other ways of obtaining lutetium as well, and we are going to focus on that today. We are going to start grinding down ores, and we are going to extract everything that we want from them. Let's face it, everybody uses IC2, we should be different. Also, the reason behind the orientation of my face is because of the journey map, just in case I want to make an actual map. In order to make the ZPM hatch, what we need to do is that we need to start dealing with europium silicon. And if you guys remember last episode, we already made the appropriate water for it, water grade 3. That water is used in both engraving the silicon wafer as well as cutting it, so we are going to need another cutting factory as well. While the silicon is being prepared, we have other stuff to do as well. Very soon we need to start upgrading the coils on our blast furnaces, and the next here is trinium. It did require a ZPM assembling machine, and now that we have it, we should be able to make it. If the circuit is correct, obviously. Oh, and by the way, just in case you're wondering, we have enough to upgrade all the volcanuses. Fun fact of the day, I just had a very long lunch, so our coils are ready. Thank you. So, voila. I have also ordered 10 europium silicon, and I have also assembled the brand new cutting machine. The reason I'm doing that is that the previous one that we have works only with water, and I use it for a lot of stuff. The other water, on the other hand, is kind of expensive, so I don't really want to waste it. And this is also a ULV input hatch, so we're not wasting that much. But here is a pattern, and cut all the silicon. I don't really care. And that should be my quests. Thank you. The reason that we had to do all of this is that we need something called nanopower IC, which needs the wafer, which only comes from europium, and also the water that we have just made. But we don't really need to include the water in the recipe because it's being supplied through an ender tank. Again, it's a ULV input hatch, so we don't waste that much. It's ruby. Okay, everything is with rubies. Yeah, I even remember where it is. So let's order one and see how it goes. It takes 25 seconds. It should also be cut with a ZPM machine, but the fluid that we use inside the cutting machine doesn't really matter. So let us first scan an LUV energy hatch so that we have a data stick for ZPM energy hatch. And then I just have to upgrade the other cutting machine, the one which we have upstairs. I do have a feeling that my data stick should be ready. Almost. I just have to wait 28 seconds. I guess it doesn't really matter. You can craft the ZPM energy hatch. And for the ZPM energy hatch, we are going to need ZPM superconductors. Your circuit number 2. Cool. Also, for the moment, I had to craft the coils manually because our multi-block assemblers cannot make these coils. That's also a ZPM recipe, but I have ordered some pumps. That should be our superconductor base. You guys know the drill. It has to be cooked. With what? I have no idea. Okay. Whatever it was we had. Oh my goodness, 98 seconds. Well, it gives you 8, I suppose. Okay, let me get the superconductors. I'll be right back. I might have gone a bit too far. That's the ZPM energy hatch, which is not a quest. Okay, I've been waiting here for like 10 seconds. That's because I did not hold these guys. Yes, nanopower ICs and no ZPM energy hatch. What the hell am I holding then? Okay, detect. Thank you. So the first ZPM energy hatch that we just got is going to be used for this assembling machine, so that at least I can make more ZPM energy hatches, because this one I just made it manually. So we remove you. Generally speaking, I think I should provide it with like a 4 amp energy hatch like I did with LUV so that it works faster, but I can't afford like 4 amps of ZPM here. Just making sure. Output ZPM, ZPM energy hatch. And since we don't want to waste any power, a superconductor, ZPM. No, I have to make like millions. One more will not change anything. So now if I want to make more ZPM energy hatches, I can. Oh, that's a machine hole. Okay, I can't. I'm very sorry to mention this, but this is the only part that I do manually. So can I have 5? Thank you. Let's hope nothing blows up. Did you know that now that we have access to ZPM energy hatches, we can make the LUV solar panel? Aha, I'm not actually sure if we can, I just ordered the one. We are actually going to need a ton of those solar panels if we want to do the milling process. It is incredibly resource intensive if you just want to do one line, and I want to do 10. So probably we are not going to be able to finish everything today, but at least we are going to do the majority of the job. Anyways, we are missing some resources. Let's do some resource gathering. Can I take you? No, it's okay. You just dump it into the system. Obviously, our first destination is Ross, and we're looking for thorium. Also, I'm out of fluorine, so anything which gives me fluorine would be awesome. Like that one. Oh, we landed. Yes. Aha, so my fellow lords and ladies of darkness, it has been maybe 10 days later and I have just finished recording episode 8 of All the Mods to the Sky. And I just literally spawned in with all of these cells. And I think it's going to take a while until I remember what the hell I should do. Okay, it's for these guys. I'm still resupplying everything manually. Not a big deal. It's also a very good thing that I recorded like 5 minutes of this video so that at least I know what am I doing, so let's get started. Again. So one thing that you might notice is that we have a singular solar panel. It's LUV. I think we started crafting it 10 days ago. It's ready. The entire system is going to be powered by solar panels, so we need I think around 20-25 of them. Can I have 10 more? No. These are just missing patterns. I had to run around and fix so many patterns, but let's craft everything that we are going to need bit by bit. We have one LUV solar panel, let's order 9 more, which is something that we can craft now. The crafting job never ends. This is crazy. We also need to have a decent Lapatronic supercapacitor, so let's order the LUV version 9x9. It does take a crazy amount of rubies, and unfortunately I'm always short, but apparently I have been prepared and I have done some mining. Yeah, more rubies here. There's actually everywhere. Yeah, actually I spoke too soon. That's our entire extra supply. There is also some being processed, but it's not gonna be much. Since we were incredibly short on rubies, I thought maybe I should do a very small mining session. I'm done already. We should have tons of apatite and we should have tons of rubies. I do most of the mining manually because it doesn't make sense for me to just move the miner and reassemble it just to get a teeny tiny bit of rubies. This is way better. However, even though my mining session is over, I just remembered something. When we were doing our Thaumcraft area, somebody left me a very important comment. Let's try it. You can't really get unlimited fortune or looting or whatever. Somebody decided that it's too OP, so he reported it as a bug. Thank you, very wise person, for reporting it as a bug. Although, when you find something OP, you can just not use it. Why ruin it for everybody else? Okay, so it has been a while later, and we're going to have, I don't know, a sub-base or whatever you want to call it. It's actually not that far away from our base. That's our base, that's our Thaumcraft base, and here is our ore processing base. I have already set up a quantum link, we have our terminals, we have some IV solar panels, they're not the main ones, and we have a Lapatronic supercapacitor with only IV capacitors. Since this is a humongous project, it actually does require a lot of basic works than the actual ore processing. So the LUV solar panels are for the ore processing, this is for normal work. Anyways, I have already mentioned this is a very complicated process. I never thought it's going to be that complicated, but we have to start with something called carbon disulfide. A very long time ago, I made this advanced coke oven, which is incredibly fast for making coal coke, right? If we mix the coal coke with some sulfur, what we're going to get is carbon disulfide. And that is exactly why that we have an electronic blast furnace over here, which is taking in the coal coke and some sulfur, and in return, it's giving us the carbon disulfide. I'm not even sure if I'm reading it correctly. I have no idea. There are like 50 billion different types of carbon here. I'm really hoping that everything is going to make sense in a few minutes, but we're going to continue with 2 chemical plants. Even though the power requirement for what we want to do is not insane voltage, since we only have insane voltage solar panels and everything is insane voltage, we're going to go with IV machine casing. And then I have to remember, how the hell will you assemble it? Oh, coils. Oops. Any extra coils we have? We go with TPV. The two chemical plants are finally ready and they're going to work at IV, although it is not required. The first one is taking in ethanol as well as sodium, on circuit number 16, and in return it's giving us something called sodium ethoxide. What we're getting has to be further processed, so let's export it to the other chemical reactor like so. And now we need to mix it with the carbon disulfide that we were getting. The yellow cable is a subnetwork and I'm hoping it's gonna work. Yeah, it is working. We're getting the item. And that's going to give us another type of sodium. Does it take long? 15 seconds for 72. Okay, it's fine. So this yellow thingy that we just got is actually a catalyst that we need to use in ore processing, and it's used for every single ore. That's why I said it will make sense in a moment. And there's exactly 3 of these items that we have to make. The next one is going to be the alumina milling ball. It does require something called aniline, and it comes from a chemical plant. Nitrobenzene hydrogen gas. It can be stainless steel. I think titanium is higher, right? We go with titanium. We want to keep things symmetrical, and besides, titanium is cheap. This is our third chemical plant for today, and yeah, this one is giving us aniline. And for the first time, we're actually using a catalyst automatically. Making the catalyst itself is a bit problematic because you can't really do this. You have to put the catalyst manually in the pattern. It's an ore dictionary problem, not a big deal. Also, in order to avoid using a crafting card, I'm using a level maintainer. We will always have 100 catalyst in our system. And I just realized, you're crafting it, okay. We have our aniline. What we need to do is that we need to put it inside an assembler, like so. And we're also going to export alumina dust to it. It has to be circuit number 10. So there you go. Oh, power. Yes. This is IV, right? Yeah. You always have to check. What is going to happen is that after 45 seconds, we're going to get 8 aluminum milling balls. That's basically what we need inside the grinding machine in order to mill down the ores. I don't think you're going to need that much. It has like 100 uses or something. 100 durability. That's nice. So that takes care of our grinding balls. There is one more item. Pine oil. I did mention this is going to be a very complicated process. Who knew that in order to get pine oil from pine trees, you need 2 chemical plants? Well, you're going to need more garbage, but let's go through everything. So there are 2 types of pine trees in this world. One of them is from Biomes of Plenty and the other one is from GregTech. And I'm assuming aesthetic wise, you can understand which one is from GregTech, right? I think it's obvious. Yeah. So the Biomes of Plenty one, I just literally found it near our base. This one I had to craft like 10 days ago and I kind of forgot the recipe. Wasn't actually, not that complicated. You have to make it inside the chemical plant. The difference between them is not that much. However, the one from GregTech gives you something extra, which makes it more useful. Do you see the cones? It does seem that every time a leaf breaks, you will get some cones. Basically, the wood, the leaves, the cones, whatever you get, you have to put it inside a chemical plant like so. Not the sapling, we need the sapling. And in return, you're going to get something called crushed pine material. It has to go inside another chemical plant, we mix it with steam or superheated steam, and in return, we get pine oil. So the difference between superheated steam and steam is kind of night and day. And one of the things that we have never ever made was a heat exchanger, so we don't have access to superheated steam. But thankfully, using an LUV fluid heater, we should be able to make it. It's that one. Yes. Yeah, where's my cable? That's one of the problems that does happen a lot when you're working away from your base. You have to visit it every 5 seconds. Something got stuck somewhere. It doesn't really make sense. Why would something get stuck? So the wire mill is fine. Oh, I hate you. It's done. So yeah, as I was saying, we need superheated steam. I have already made an advanced fluid heater, which is IV. And that is the LUV version. So we make steam using water with IV, we turn it into superheated steam with LUV. Obviously steam is the easy part, all we need is a reservoir, a pump, and voila. That's steam incredibly fast. For superheated steam it's also not that complicated, it's just that we need a transformer. We have tons of them. This is 4 amps of IV, gives you 1 amp of LUV. I'm a bit scared to use it, let's put it here. We flip it first. So the bottom side is, input IV. Cool. Something exploded. You hear random explosions a lot. So the output is LUV. That's an LUV superconductor. That's hopefully an LUV machine. Yes. So don't explode. Thank you. That should be our superheated steam. It's not going to be that fast, I'll give you that. But let us also try to have a massive buffer for it. That's a quantum tank. Are we good? Yeah, it's actually not that slow as well. It's fine. We shall have a storage bus, we lock it, extract only. Is it locked? No. Yeah, now we can read it with our system. The superheated steam that we just made is going to be used inside the second chemical plant. And I know it's a bit confusing, but what we need to do is that we need to extract those pine stuff that we're getting, these guys, the pine material. We put it on circuit number 18, some superheated steam goes in, and we void the extra fluids. And what you just witnessed is a teeny tiny boo-boo. It didn't have power, but yeah, now it has power. So void extra items, sorry. Only items. It does give you ashes and dark ashes, I don't need that. But yeah, every 11 seconds we get 9 buckets of pine oil, that's not bad. It fluctuates. It's okay, we just need some speed upgrades for the conduits, then it should work a bit faster. Are you? Yeah. Everything that we have done so far has nothing to do with the actual ore processing, it's just the pre-requirements. Now we can actually process the ores. And maybe today what we can do is that we can do 2 of them. One of them that I really want is monazite, you know, for lutetium. And the other one that I desperately need is sphalerite for indium. I guess we start with sphalerite. I need more indium. Alright guys, it has been a while later. Oh, it finished crafting, yes. Well, it has been 2 days later for me actually, and well, this ore processing has 3 stages. One of them is obviously milling everything, the other one is flotation cells, and the final bit is just dehydration, which yeah, we're just gonna do it in a multi-block. We actually have to do it in a multi-block. However, while trying to do everything, I realized a teeny tiny boo-boo that I made. So what we're going to try and do is to get 10 different froths, and I have absolutely no idea what a froth is. But in order to make a froth, you need pine oil, which we have, you need the milled ore, which we are going to have, and you need this sodium ethyl mejigabob. And that's where I made the boo-boo, because if you come to monazite, now it's potassium. I did not notice that, and they both have the same color, so yeah, we're missing 1 ingredient. So we are going to need 2 more chemical plants. Let me assemble them. I'll be right back. I did mention that there are going to be 2 more chemical plants, however, there are a few more mijigabobs involved. For example, we have a dehydrator. We're putting in quicklime together with water. What we're getting is hydrated lime dust. It reminds me of limes. I don't know why. But we are reading that through a storage bus and we need to insert it into one of the chemical plants. We mix it with some CO2 gas as well as some potash that we are getting from our ore processing, and in return we get potassium hydroxide as well as calcium carbonate. There are going to be 2 outputs. I have already set filters for them. Because calcium carbonate we have to reprocess, this one has to go inside the second chemical plant. Let's deal with the potassium hydroxide first. A bit of a dire wire, but that's the theme of GregTech New Horizons. But in the second chemical reactor, we export the carbon disulfate that we were making inside that blast furnace. Ethanol, I have already taken care of that. That goes inside another hatch. Then the potassium hydroxide. And the circuit is number 17, so will you work? Has problems, yes. Not enough fluid output space, which is not really a big deal, because it's water, we don't need that. And yeah, that is our potassium, ethyl, whatever. Now for the ore processing, we're not actually missing anything, however, we should take care of something. Yeah, the calcium carbonate. Well, there are different things that we can do with it. Inside a chemical reactor, we get our CO2 back, and one electrolyzer, we get our chlorine back. Okay, I'm actually going to skip processing the calcium carbonate because that has uses in something called Kevlar. So for the moment, I'm just going to have a super bus for it. However, now everything gets a bit convoluted. We have everything we need, we just have to automate it. And remember, blue is our main network, yellow is our subnetwork, and that's our brand new subnetwork. So cabling is gonna be fun. We shall have one interface for the yellow subnetwork. We're going to ask it to export sodium ethyl mejigabob, which to be honest with you, I have absolutely no idea where we're getting it. Ah yeah, I found it. So one storage bus, we lock it as usual, extract only, and one cable. Now it should go here? Yes. Then we need the potassium one, which we just made. And then we are going to read that interface through a storage bus and read it by the second subnetwork. Like so. We also need to have one more storage bus for the aluminum milling balls. And we export it inside the interface as well. Yeah, it's working. So our second subnetwork should be able to read that and export it inside the mills. And yeah, it's working. Also for the moment, for the ores, we are going to have a chest. Later on, it's going to be replaced with an ender chest. So a storage bus goes on that, and then we're going to export it into the mills. So one is monazite, it should go in. The other one is sphalerite. That goes inside another mill. So if we remove something from the mills, it should start working? Yes. It's funny, you go close, you get damaged. So what is happening is that we have the backbone of our ore processing. We almost have the ores inside the chest, no longer. They go inside the mills, and what we are getting is the milled monazite or milled sphalerite, or the other 8 that we are going to have later on. Those milled ores have to go inside the flotation cells over there. So we need to have a bit more dire wire, 2 more blocks. Yeah, that should be fine. And since there are going to be 10 flotation cells, I think we need a dense cable. There's going to be 1 input hatch for pine oil, if I'm not wrong, yes. We're going to take care of that using ender tanks, so that's not going to be a channel. Depending on the ore that we want to process, it's either sodium or potassium, so that's input bus. And we need an output hatch for the froth. There's a total of 10 of them, so 30 channels. Yeah, we need a P2P tunnel. And I have been looking for my card for a while. It was in my inventory. That's 1 P2P tunnel, and that's its output. Cool, we should be fine. But for the moment, I don't think we're going to need more than 2 flotation cells. Because I don't have all the ores, is the thing. Yeah, something like this should work fine. That's our pine oil. Also, the reason that we have 10 flotation cells is that each flotation cell can only handle 1 ore. The mills are just for symmetry purposes, and I think we're going to need 10 dehydrators because of the circuit. Otherwise, the entire process is incredibly slow, so you can get away by having just 1 machine. But the first ore that we are going to try and process is going to be monazite, because that's the trickiest one. And I'm not even sure if that's going to work, because that's the only one which is a UV recipe. I have already checked, the multi-block dehydrator does accept 2 energy hatches, so let's hope we can amp it up. While I'm assembling the dehydrator, I thought maybe we should try to get the monazite froth, cause it takes like 5 minutes. Oh, that's more. 7 minutes for just 1 bucket. I need 4 buckets, so it will take half an hour. I have been working a teeny tiny bit on our brand new ore processing base, and I think our froth should be ready. That is the hope. Yeah, we have 4 cells. That's all we need, right? So this is the moment of truth. If this works, I'm gonna be super happy. Because this is the only UV recipe and, well, the rest of them are going to be easy peasy. Do you work? Oh, not enough fluid output. Yeah, we don't need the output. Yes, it works. It's actually quite fast. It's only 27 seconds. And we do get lutetium. Europium, lutetium, lanthanum, and erbium. Good job. So for today we're going to process a few of the ores. Of course, one of them is monazite, the other one is going to be sphalerite. Sphalerite, we're doing this for indium because it's going to be hyper efficient. We still have long ways to go, but for the moment we have 2 more ores to process. Let's hope everything works according to plan. Are you on? Yeah. We don't need the fluid. It works. We don't need the fluid. And you work as well. This one is actually quite amazing. It gives you almost half a stack of osmium. And not just any osmium, the osmium. That was successful. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 1 stack of indium as well. And also my osmium. Cool. Well, I'm actually happy with the system. It was a grind, but totally worth it. Because right now it's actually not fully automatic, it doesn't process all the ores, but when it does, it's gonna be amazing. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one, bye bye.